Do you feel like who you are on the inside is different than who you are on the outside? That there's some incongruence inside of you? Some people would call this an identity crisis. Some people call it a midlife crisis. Some people just feel crappy and they don't know exactly how to describe it. But basically, the challenge is that there are so many expectations for who we need to be in the outside world. And oftentimes we're living up to those expectations, and we're also guarding our hearts and protecting ourselves. And so we're showing up with these masks and we're pretending to be somebody that we're not, and we're trying to be a chameleon and people please and take care of other people. And in the midst of it all, there's this inside us that doesn't really manifest itself in the outside world. Now, some people will say they don't even know who they are. Oftentimes, what I realize is that it's actually this split existence that's the problem. It's really more they kind of know who they are on the inside, but they don't know how to be that in the outside world. Now, either one of them is fine. If you don't know who you are on the inside, that's okay too. That's actually much easier to find than you might imagine. The key thing is, how do you show up in the outside world as your most authentic self? Now, some people say, oh, well, it's really great when you get into midlife and you're like 50 years old, you no longer care what people think. But that's not really what I'm talking about. It's not about like not caring what other people think. It's really about me realizing that who you are is really important and valuable, and that other people want to know you, and that you will feel so much better when you feel safe enough internally to be able to be your whole self out in the world. So work is really an inner journey of cultivating that safety, cultivating the strength internally, cultivating self-validation, feeling like we have compassion for ourselves, we accept ourselves, and that we know how to meet our own needs, so that it's not so much about that no one else, we don't rely on other people or any of that. That's not what it is, but it's that on an emotional level, we are whole. We know we are valuable, we are lovable, we are worthy, and we want to bring ourselves into the world. So there you go. So the question is really less about like who am I and what do I want? It's more about how do we bravely bring who we really are and what we want into the world. That's where I think people are getting stuck, is the courage to show up fully as our true selves, to be known, to risk being known, and then risk being rejected or abandoned by people who don't like who we are. Better to wear a mask, hide it all. What's your experience around this? Tell me what it's like for you.